fuck is a reboot?
A reboot, boys, is when Hollywood wants to make a lot of money without the hassle of creating a new movie. So they take an old movie and change just enough to make you pay for the same shit all over again.
Hello and welcome to another episode of Frame for Frame. We've been gone a long time and we're back.
Yeah, I will apologize. That's mostly on me. I mean, Yump, you have had a couple of cancellations, but I went to Hawaii for 10 days, disappeared off the map there for a while. I went and, because that's how the world works. I actually went off the edge of the planet and then returned, and I'm missing it today because it is very snowy for the first time this year.
Yes, it's snowy in the Chicagoland area too. I believe we're getting 7 to 10 inches today. Not too bad right now, but it's coming down. Last time I looked.
Well, I'm further west and it's moving east, so it's coming, man. It's absolutely going to be there. But you know what's great about a nice snowy day, especially like that first big snow when you have to wait for it to end and all that? It's perfect time to just chill out, watch some movies, or if you're like us and you have to put yourself on a screen or a podcast or whatever, you talk about movies.
Yes, sir. So that's my co-host, Michael Cubes Fan Cotton. I'm your other co-host, Tom Yumper Garcia. And this is Frame for Frame. We actually planned this out, which is actually a good idea because we actually went with a new film today that we're going to be comparing to the old film with the release of the 2025 The Running Man, Cotton. So I'm really excited to hear what you think about the film because I went and saw it maybe the weekend it came out. And I know you saw it that Wednesday going forward. Of course, I watched the original. You have too. But I really want to see what you thought of the new one.
Yeah.
So this episode's going to be kind of fun because it's a newer film we're doing that just came out. And with that, Cotton, since we're doing new films, we're going to do a new thing in our Act 1, and we're going to dedicate that to your previews of the films coming out that have remakes or sequels.
All right, let's jump into it.
Cool.
If elected mayor, my first act will be to kill the whole lot of you and burn your turn to cinders. I know it's on.
Nice. Okay, Penguins. Thought we'd mix it up a bit, because, hey, we're still, working out the 100% best way to do this show. So, coming up with new things, I thought I'd do a quick, news segment about remakes, sequels, and adaptations of movies that will be coming out within the next 2 weeks. And Yumper famously hates that Hollywood does nothing new. They only do sequels and remakes and stuff. So I thought I'd get his take on some of these before we get a chance to actually watch them or see much about them. So in the first, and we were going to do this Wednesday. So the first one I have is actually Zootopia 2. That came out on Wednesday. They're trying to hit that big holiday market. There's nothing more appropriate for Thanksgiving as anthropomorphic animals because this holiday is just basically about eating animals, right? So what do you think about this show? Did you know anything about Zootopia 1?
So I think I've seen Zootopia 1. I'm looking at the
it was apparently good enough that you don't even remember whether you saw it.
Well, see, the thing is, I have, my kid is small. He's small and younger than your kid, so he's 9. So these kind of movies kind of all mix in all together. Like this one, that one with the dancing with a pig that dances, and Despicable Me. Like they all kind of like merge into one. And then isn't there one like about a bear or some shit, like a bear in a forest? I don't know.
Five Nights at Freddy's.
No. I saw that movie, the old one, the first one. The Zootopia, though. I mean, it is what it is. My kid has talked about it, so that's the only reason I knew it was coming out. So I probably will be seeing it in theater.
Yeah, I think Zootopia came out quite a while ago. It's been eight-ish years or something because it is animated and takes a while. But all right, I never saw it. I know that my kids have seen it, and I don't know, it just never really did much for me. But second here came out, opened last night on the 28th, the new Benedict Cumberbatch movie, The Thing with Feathers, which this is an adaptation of a novella called Grief is the Thing with Feathers. Have you ever heard of this?
No.
No. Yeah, I hadn't either, but it's basically just taking a thing. And when I read what it was about, it's a widower who is left to raise two young sons after the unexpected death of his wife. The man's life is unraveling because the grief that takes form of an unhinged and unwanted house guest, which is a crow, which taunts him from the shadows. I'm like, this is The Raven by Edgar Allan Poe, but made into a movie is what it sounds like.
But not that Raven movie with John Cusack?
Right. Yeah. I don't know. It's it's an adaptation of a Cillian Murphy play. But you've never heard of this? I'd never really heard of this either.
To be honest with you, the last thing I saw Benedict Cumberbatch in was he's doing those commercials now where he reads I think it's an Amazon commercial where he reads people's issues that have happened in their lives as an actor.
Oh, it's the reviews of Amazon things, isn't it?
Yeah. And he does it in the like actor's voice, which I thought was hilarious because he was talking about people getting sick at a Thanksgiving party. But that's the last thing I heard of him doing anything new.
Right.
And my son always asks me if they're going to make a Doctor Strange, and I'm like, probably. I just don't know when's coming out.
Well, his most recent movie, I think it was called The Roses or something like that. That was actually a remake of The War of the Roses from the late 80s with, I think Michael Douglas was in that movie.
Oh, man.
So, yeah. So he's recently done a remake. But,
well, I mean, that's Hollywood.
Yeah. All right. So I mentioned it before. Next Friday, December 5th, we're getting the sequel to Five Nights at Freddy's. It is creatively called Five Nights at Freddy's 2 instead of, I don't know, maybe nights 6 through 10 or 5 more nights or really anything. So my guess is that they just put so much creativity into this movie that they couldn't come up with a better title.
Have you seen the original?
What do you think? What?
Have you seen the original?
I have not.
It's really bad. So I expect nothing less from this film. I saw the preview actually for this film when I went to go see The Running Man, and I was like, wow, like I don't. But hey, you got to cash it on that video game.
Yeah, I saw the preview at Running Man 2, and it was, yeah, I don't know. So my kids loved the game. Like they used to play this game a ton. But then when the movie came out, I was like, hey, you want to watch Five Nights at Freddy's? I'm like, I don't know anything really about the game, but you're into the game. Like we could watch a movie together. And they're like, nah.
So I noticed that they're like trying to just come out with anything that is like pop culture or stuff that is just, made money on a different market. Like they had that Mousetrap when Mickey Mouse's character came out, to untrademarked, not like Steamboat Willie.
Yeah.
So they had Mousetrap, which is one of the worst horror movies I've ever seen in my life. Now they have one called Popeye the Slayer Man.
I saw they've actually got a number of those. It's on Tubi, right? Is that where you're seeing it,
I saw it on Tubi and I saw it on Prime.
That's where it is. They are on Prime. They're like sort of deep in the suggestions, but yeah, there's Popeye the Slayer Man. I feel like there's a completely different Popeye one too, which I guess with Mickey Mouse hitting public domain, or not Mickey Mouse, but Steamboat Willie hitting public domain, it overshadowed Popeye. But I'm kind of interested in looking at the Popeye one.
Well, they had one Winnie the Pooh too, killer one, right? Didn't they? Like Winnie the Pooh.
Yes, they did. Blood and Honey was Winnie the Pooh. They've actually, I think, got a sequel to that, and then the next year, Piglet hit it, and so they have a Piglet movie too.
It's a Piglet horror movie. Like, who thinks of this shit? Like, I understand that this is non-trademark, but like, who thought they've been waiting for 100 years or 70 years for these trademarks to go drop off just so they can make a horrible horror movie? Like,
it's amazing that they're, people are sitting around and they're just wanting to do something right, and they see this coming and they're like, all right, we've got, I assume, something like 3 weeks. Let's write a movie and film the whole thing.
Yeah, like I'm looking at Blood and Honey, and it was directed and written by the same guy, so that makes sense.
Yeah, I it's just one of those things. It's like you get an idea and it's in the public domain, and let's just try and cash in on it.
He also did a movie called Freddy's Fridays.
What is it?
It's called
Freddy's Fridays.
Yeah, it's based off. I'm guessing it's based off Five Nights at Freddy's. It just has different
Five
characters.
Guys at Freddy's is a movie about a fast food place.
Oh wow. Yeah, I know Wally's World was like kind of a ripoff of Five Nights at Freddy's 2 with Nicolas Cage.
Oh right.
So
yeah.
I don't know. They just can't come up with original ideas.
I think Wally's World, didn't that come out before Five Nights at Freddy's? But I think it was.
I think it came out before the film, but I mean, it's still.
Yeah,
it was a video game.
Yeah, it was off the video game, like the idea.
Yeah,
but yeah, no, there are some interesting ones out there. But speaking of people picking up on that kind of stuff, I mean, they did Wicked. The new Wicked just came out, and that's based on a book by, I think his name is Gregory Maguire, but he started writing all these books, and it's public domain stuff, right? So he wrote the original Wicked, which is a different retelling of the story of the Wicked Witch of the West from Wizard of Oz. But then there's a bunch of sequels to that too, about the lion, about the Tin Man, all that stuff. But yeah, people, it's kind of, it can be fun. I know I read the original Wicked, but I couldn't get into the other ones. Like
I read Return to Oz and the original Wizard of Oz. I saw the movie Return to Oz, which as a kid was like, what the hell's going on?
Those were actually by L. Frank Baum. I mean, people don't realize he wrote like 13 books about Oz.
I tried to watch the Wicked, could not get into it. The play I heard is awesome. I know people have gone to it, and the sequel, I'm hearing people are crying at it. I'm not much of a crier, and I didn't like the original, so I probably will skip that one.
Yeah, I actually saw Wicked in the theater up in Chicago, and then watched Wicked 1 when that came out, but I skipped the second part of it. My family all went just the other day. I was just like, I've seen it. The play was good. It's very long. There's a lot of stuff going on, and I was just like, I can't sit through this anymore.
Yeah,
it's very good. Like, I get why it's good. It's just not for me. I liked the book, but then I saw the play, and again, good, but not as good as the book. And then for me, the movie just dropped off from the play. So it's diminishing returns for me.
Yeah, I don't know, man. There's just like I was looking, I think, and I would throw this out to you because I'm going to ask Tony this as well. Like, we talked about this before, and like, do you think theaters are really, really dying? Like, the movie industry itself is dying in terms of going to the movie theaters? Because, yeah, there were some movies that made a lot of money, but like, it seems like the theaters aren't as full as they used to be.
Well, I mean, I talked about this in my You're Not Gonna Like This column on Sadistic Penguin Studios.com. Is that what it is? Yeah. And they're struggling, but the reason they're struggling is because the production companies are just screwing all this up. Like, when you can watch a movie, 2 weeks after its release at home, like, then why is anybody going to go to the movies? I mean, even when you want to go to the movies, that movie may not be there anymore. You know, like, you've got to, they put so much on this like opening weekend thing, but that's a self-made issue. They've made it so that the movies are out of the theaters so quickly that the only thing that matters is that opening weekend and maybe the next weekend. And then, I mean, there have been a number of times when I'm not a big go to the theater guy. I like it when I go, but I just don't do it a lot because I just don't really like to be around other people when I'm watching movies, you know?
Sure, introvert.
And I like to pause, right? Like, if I want to go to the bathroom or go grab some food or whatever, I will hit pause and then come back. And you can't do that when you're in a theater. So that's a little frustrating for me. The theater experience is fun. We'll talk about it a little bit later because I did actually go to the theater for our movie today. But I wanted to go to movies and they're just not there. Because if I go, I'm going week 2 or 3, right? After people have already seen it. I'm not going to be in a theater full of people. So I want to go a little bit later when there's a little more room for me. And then, then if the movie's gone, it's like, oh, well, why didn't it do well at the box office? Well, maybe give it a little bit more run. I personally think that they need to bring the movies out, and once the movie leaves the theater, there needs to be a 6-month moratorium, and then bring out a DVD, Blu-ray, and then another 6 months from that before it hits streaming. So you're giving this movie all the time in the world to get its to get some, run at the theater. And then after that, people may buy the DVD and you're going to get a little bit more money, or Blu-ray, and you're going to get more money out of that. And then a year later, if people are still waiting, or if they saw it at the theater, a year later, they might go, oh, I want to watch this again. And then they can stream it at home. And then you're not just cannibalizing all of your profits in one moment.
They're even like doing like re-releases now. Like, even, of course they're doing the anniversary ones, but they're just doing, I think.
Well, you know what? The preview section isn't quite done because next week, on the same day as Five Nights at Freddy's, Kill Bill, the whole bloody affair. That's in my notes to ask you about.
It doesn't have like 15 seconds of new footage or some shit.
Yeah, it's Kill Bill 1 and 2 in the original format, because apparently Quentin Tarantino actually made a 4.5 hour movie originally, and I think he was with the Weinsteins then, and they were like, no, you got to cut this into 2. Like, we're not going to put out a 4.5 hour movie. And so then he cut it into 2. And when he did it, he had to re-edit. He had to move things in the story around. So if you go watch this, it's not going to be in the exact same format timeline. And then, then there's like they said something about there's an animated section in it that ties them together.
They do have an animated section in the film when they're introducing Lucy Liu's character, when they're talking about her backstory. Now this I would not go see in the theater. If this comes out on like DVD or stream, I'll watch it. I'll buy it and watch it that way because I can pause for this.
Right, 4.5 hours. It's ridiculous.
I can't sit for 4.5 hours anymore. I have to get up and walk around, or stop something because my mind starts to wander. No matter how good or engaging the film is or whatever I'm doing, my mind still wanders. It's just human nature. Also, Quentin Tarantino is kind of rubbing me the wrong way with his views on movies that he considers not art, and I'm just like, imagine what they were saying about you when you first came out, man. Like,
Yeah. Oh, Quentin Tarantino as a person sucks. He just does. Like, I'm sorry. I've long lost the thread on Tarantino. I liked his original, like when he was first coming out, but I'm kind of done with them. I mean, Kill Bill, I watched them both, and I think I saw those both maybe in the theater, and they were fine. They're fine. I don't know. This new version apparently was shown at Cannes. Like he went to the film festival and showed it at Cannes, and he has his own theater in LA, and he's shown it there too. So, but this is the first like full release with whatever he did to re-edit. Yeah.
Speaking of Tarantino, since we're talking about news, the Stranger Things new series, the new season came out. Well, half of the new season, right? I'm not going to talk about that, but Maya Hawke, who plays Robin Buckley in the film, the series, her parents are, of course, Uma Thurman and Ethan Hawke. There was an article I read maybe a couple weeks ago. I guess she's going to work with Quentin, and she asked her mom for like advice, and her mom said, "Don't show him your feet." How fucked up is that? Like, and she was dead serious. How fucked up is that to tell your kid that?
It makes me wonder. So, this has been out in the ether there for a while that he has a bit of a foot fetish, and Kill Bill, she's running around barefoot a lot.
Wiggle your big toe.
Yeah. What?
That's part of Kill Bill. He's wiggle your big toe.
Oh yeah. And so I don't know if it's like that's one of those things, like he could totally have a foot fetish, or it's something that he added into the movie for some reason, and then it just became this sort of thing because people who do have foot fetishes, they really like Uma Thurman's feet, and it could just be the idea that
he definitely has one, dude. Like you've seen Dusk Till Dawn, that whole sequence with Salma Hayek. Yeah, he's totally Quentin Tarantino. He wrote that with Robert Rodriguez to have himself play the role. Come on.
Oh right, yeah, true. Yeah. So yeah, it's weird. It's weird. The whole, I've never been a foot guy anyway, so yeah, it's all weird.
But it's just the whole fact, like you tell your kid, she's asking for advice. I'm working with this legendary director, and she's like, "Don't show him your feet." Okay,
so if you're a famous woman, that's just good advice. Don't show people your feet anyway, because just you go on the internet and there are all sorts of crazy foot fetish. There's AI feet fetish stuff now. Like it's insane. Keep your feet covered, people, especially on an airplane. All right. So you're not excited about the Kill Bill re-release. I'm not either. And again, but that's partially it's the time frame. I would probably watch this movie again, but I've been over Quentin for a while. But the final one here, this is the long awaited. Everybody has been clamoring for this movie. Everybody has been screaming for 40 years. We need this movie to come back. It is Silent Night, Deadly Night, the 1984 cult classic about a kid who sees Santa Claus murder his family and grows up to be a Santa Claus who murders families.
What the hell?
Tell me, you are excited. I know you've seen this movie, right?
Yes, I've seen the original. I seen that this is coming out, and I have no interest in it. I still think
so this will not be the next episode of Frame for Frame.
No, I mean, if we have to, why? It's funny to hear me like complain about it, but yeah, I have no. I get it, like why they remade Black Christmas that one year, because that was a remake.
Right.
I understand because that was like gory and it was really, really big at the time. So I guess they wanted to retry it. It was in the 70s. This film is just, I don't know why would you would make it. It makes no sense. But like I said, Hollywood's running out of original ideas, man.
Well, and if I'm not mistaken, they made this movie because of Black Christmas, right? Like, I think it came out like 6-7 years later, but I feel like it was basically inspired by Black Christmas.
Yeah, and I'm looking at the preview right now, and it looks ridiculous. Like
Yeah.
he is the way he's dressed as Santa. It's just looks just bad. People are probably gonna be like, "Oh, this is great." And his Rohan Campbell, that doesn't get you in the seats. Rohan Campbell, that's the lead actor. I have no interest in it, man.
I get, and I honestly, I thought maybe you would, because I know how much you like a lot of these, bad horror movies. Bad, and I say that in quotes, but like these cult classics, like who knows? You might have been the one person waiting for this one.
So they're waiting for my my $16 to go see it in theater. You'll see if I ever went, they'll see that that's the box office from Tinley Park.
Yeah,
$6. No, I So when it comes to horror, I give horror a little more leeway in terms of sequels and remakes, because horror is kind of like a hit or miss genre. But of all the classics you want to make, like remake, why would you remake that film? You know what I mean? It's just like there's a movie called The Little Butcher Boy, which is about like a kid who works in a pork store. And he wears a pig mask to kill people. I'm pretty sure that will come out next. Like those ideas. Like, why would you make a film on that? Use an idea that kind of works and put your own spin on it.
So I'll push back on this in the idea that those are the movies you should do, because if you came out with a movie that is not very good, maybe remake those. Like when they're remaking things that people love, they've talked about I'm trying to think of of course, when I'm trying to think in the moment of a remake, there's 8 million of them. But when they remake a movie that people already love, that's just not probably going to do very well, because how are you going to do as good as a great movie? So take a bad movie and remake it.
But there are bad movies that have good storylines to support execution. A kid seeing Santa kill his family and then becoming a killer Santa makes no fucking sense.
That's true.
So I understand what you're saying there. Like, you know what? A remake I would watch that's in the horror genre, if they did, would probably be Basket Case. If they did Basket Case, because the first one it's more of a cult classic, and it's not really a good plot, but it's interesting about a guy who has his twin brother in his basket he carries around. Like, I would like to see it more updated, to see like the graphics and like the animatronics with it, to see how cool that would look. Like, to me, horror has kind of gone down that road, whether it's remake city of like now they're coming out with another Exorcist coming out soon. They just announced that with Scarlett Johansson, or it's like another Conjuring movie, or what's the other one? Insidious, or it's fucking what's the other horror? It's just horrible movies. Like they're like one way or the other. They're not really. They're stuck in like a pitter patter of bad stuff right now.
Right. Well, and I mean, and the idea is literally, let's just use the title, and go with whatever we want to do. And that's, I mean, honestly, that's the end of this like little previews news section. And a movie that just uses titles, I mean, kind of makes sense for what we're about to get into. Do we want to move on to?
Yes, sir. Let's move on to our Act 2 and get into this film breakdown.
And now for my next number, I'd like to return to the classics.
So the first film we're going to be talking about is the original 1987 film, The Running Man, which we all know is a cult classic. And it was directed by Paul Michael Glaser, who is more of a TV director, as well as done several music videos for, I think he's done Genesis. I can't think of his name right now off the top of my head.
Phil Collins.
Phil Collins, thank you. He's done Phil Collins videos. But he's also done classics like Kazam with Shaq.
Classic.
The Air Up There with Kevin Bacon. The Cutting Edge and Band of the Hand are his other films he's really mostly known for.
Okay, so Band of the Hand.
Mhm.
I know I watched that back in the day. Do you remember that being good, or was I like just a kid who liked bad movies?
To be honest with you, I probably saw it. It didn't make a big impression on me.
Yeah. It was about like this guy that like took criminal kids and then turned them into, try to like reform them and use their talents to like do good, and then like a gang kills them, and so then the Band of the Hand gets revenge on the gang.
Ah.
I don't think it had a great story.
It looks.
I think it was like there wasn't like a clear cut act 1, 2, and 3. Like it just sort of went.
It has a pretty decent cast. It's got Lawrence Fishburne, Lauren Holly, and Leon Robinson, who's known as Leon for most of his career, but pretty decent cast there. Yeah, it didn't make an impression on me. Now I kind of want to watch it because the plot sounds so ridiculous.
It is. I think it was just one of those movies. Well, I mean, look at the rest of his movies. Kazam, Shaquille O'Neal as a genie. The Air Up There was Kevin Bacon going to Africa because there was a tall guy he wanted to play basketball.
Shake and Bake. That's the only part of that movie I remember when he did Shake and Bake.
The Cutting Edge, I think, is maybe
his best
maybe
film.
the best of all of them, and that was an ice skating movie.
Yeah, I mean, considering I really do like the film The Running Man. Besides that, yeah.
Well, yeah. Besides, yeah,
The Cutting Edge is probably his second favorite movie. But his cast includes the great Arnold Schwarzenegger as Ben Richards. We have Maria Conchita Alonso as Amber Mendez. Her accent in here is very, very thick, and the way she talks cracks me up.
Yeah, I forgot she was in this movie. Because I did rewatch it. I watched it on a Tuesday, and then I watched the new one on a Wednesday. So I rewatched this movie, and I will say Maria Conchita Alonso was. I really did enjoy her in that movie.
We have the Kissing Bandit from the Family Feud fame, Richard Dawson as Damian Killian. Perfect villain.
He's very good. He obviously knows how to be a game show host, but also like I was like, hey, he's good in this movie. He had to have been in something, right? He was in the original run of Hogan's Heroes.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, there was like 100 and something of those episodes, but yeah, he was like a real actor prior to getting the Family Feud, and then he just kind of quit acting until this role.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy. When I learned he was on, of course, I saw this before, his Family Feud. His Family Feud days were old by the time I started watching that show. But when I found out he was on Family Feud, I was like, oh wow, the Family Feud guy was on The Running Man.
Oh, you did? Oh yeah, I forget. I'm like almost 10 years older than you. I was already seeing Family Feud with Richard Dawson, and then I saw this movie, and I'm like, oh my god, this is a Family Feud guy. Like, yeah.
I think, my Family Feud I was introduced to Ray Combs was the person I saw, and then Louis Anderson took over.
Oh, right.
Louis. That was my introduction to Family Feud was Ray Combs.
I was well past Family Feud by then.
Then we have Yaphet Kotto as Laughlin, another underrated actor who's in a lot of films, and he's one of those people that you're like, hey, I know that guy from a couple movies. I just can't remember his name.
Right. Well, obviously must be friends with Schwarzenegger because I believe he was in. Was he in Predator?
No, he's not in Predator. He's in another film with him, though. I know for sure.
Why am I blanking on this? The one with Alyssa Milano as the daughter.
He's in Commando.
Commando. He's in Commando.
Yeah. So he's got to be friends with them. And Schwarzenegger does take care of his friends. We'll get to a person he actually put in there with him. But we have Marvin J. McIntyre as Weiss. He kind of looks like my high school physics teacher, Mr. Cooney. So shout out to Mr. Cooney. We have our stalkers here: Professor Toru Tanaka as Sub-Zero, Gus Wrightwich as Buzzsaw, Earl Van Lith as Dynamo, and the great Jim Brown as Fireball, which I thought was hilarious that Jim Brown is a villain in a film.
Right. Jim Brown is great. Now, Professor Toru Tanaka, is he a wrestling? Was he a
Yes.
wrestler?
So
Yeah,
he was a
okay.
wrestler before and then became an actor. I always remember him from Pee-wee's Big Adventure as the butler.
Yeah. Yeah. So not a real professor, just his
wrestler.
wrestling name.
He's a big cuddly bear as Sub-Zero.
Yeah.
Great cast of stalkers. Then we have the great Jesse Ventura as Captain Freedom. I put this picture up there because I thought it was hilarious what they gave him to wear. He looks like a jacked up, cheap version of a Transformer there.
Yeah. His whole character arc, and we'll get into it a little bit when we talk. I don't know why they misused or didn't use him very well at all in this movie. It's almost like he came in for one day, they shot everything, and then he's gone.
Yeah, it's very, very small. This one, Mick Fleetwood as Mick, which I thought was what?
Yes, and for the younger listeners out there, Mick Fleetwood was part of Fleetwood Mac, the 1970s, early 80s massive supergroup. Just huge. I was absolutely blown away. I haven't seen this movie. I watched it probably 5, 6, 7 times when I was younger, but I hadn't seen it in a very long time. So when I saw Mick Fleetwood pop in there, I was really surprised.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. And we also have, as I said, Arnold puts his friends in, and Sven Ole Thorson, hopefully I pronounced that correctly, plays Sven, the security guard that helps out Killian. He's one of, I guess, Arnold's training buddies. He was in Conan with them. He does little side roles, so he put him in this film with them.
Yeah. I was kind of surprised that he has to be he looks like he could be an Schwarzenegger double or stuntman or something, right?
Yeah, I believe he's done some of his side stuff as a stunt actor for he did Conan the Destroyer, Conan the Barbarian. So he's basically his stuntman.
Yeah.
But it's Arnold's personal dude, so
right, and get him on screen, get him a very few lines, but a few lines, get him some exposure. Yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of funny when you look at his Wikipedia, and it's one of his things it says he lives in Santa Monica, California, has 2 dogs, a Jack Russell Terrier named Jake, and a Bull Terrier named Cleo. Now deceased. That's his personal bio. So
somebody on the Wikipedia was just like, "Man, we got to have 3 more lines."
Yeah. So that is the 1987 Running Man cast. Mr. Cotton, I will before I get to you, I'm going to give over some box office and ratings for this film. It had a budget of $27 million and a box office of $38 million, which kind of surprised me when I looked this up because I thought it made a lot more money than it actually did. I thought it was maybe in the 80s, 90s millions, but
I think it made a lot of money on video, and then DVD, and then also being played on TV. It was just all over TV.
Mm-hmm. That's probably why I thought, because it was it's definitely a cult classic. The ratings on IMDb are a 6.6 out of 10, 59 certified fresh on Rotten Tomatoes, which is not really good. Roger Ebert, though, gave it 2.5 stars. I actually read his article, and it was pretty funny what he thought of the film. But this film is set in 2025, which is pretty hilarious. But now let's go into the newer version of the film, the 2025 version.
Oh, right. So this obviously just came out a couple of weeks ago, and I will tell you, I'm not up on all the new actors or whatever. So for me, like all the main characters, I was like, they were not, I didn't know any of them, honestly. I didn't know who Glenn Powell was, and he's like the main guy. So I was, but it was interesting. But yeah, the director I did know. Edgar Wright has done Last Night in Soho, Shaun of the Dead. He's famously good friends with Nick Frost and Simon Pegg. They all kind of came up together making the Shaun of the Dead movies. Then he also did Baby Driver, The World's End, Scott Pilgrim versus the World. Like Edgar Wright is a very accomplished director, done a lot of all those movies that are on that list I have seen and enjoyed. And not just enjoyed, been like, these are really cool. Like he's doing interesting new things.
Yeah. So I'm a huge fan of Edgar Wright. Actually, my favorite film by him is actually Scott Pilgrim versus the World, just because it's something different. But I did like his take on horror in Last Night in Soho. Very, very talented. He can be funny, and like he does action very, very well. More of a serious films, if you want to go like Baby Driver, that has some comedy elements in it. But like he's a very, very talented director.
Yeah, anytime you see Edgar Wright is directing a movie, you give it a chance, because even if it's not something, that you think, oh, I'm really into this or whatever, give it a chance, because honestly, I didn't know anything about Scott Pilgrim versus the World. I didn't know the character. I didn't know the comic, anything. And I watched that movie, went in completely cold, and I was blown away by that movie. That was a great movie, super fun. The whole aspect of it being like a video game style was great. Like I just really enjoyed it.
Yeah. Also pretty badass soundtrack.
All right. So Glenn Powell as Ben Richards, he is taking over for Arnold Schwarzenegger, and obviously much smaller, but they made sure to get this guy ripped and nice and oiled, and make him look good with his shirt off for sure.
Or completely naked in a building.
Yeah. But yeah, and again, I didn't know much about Glenn Powell going into this at all. So
he's probably mostly famous for his role in Top Gun Maverick.
Oh, okay.
He was in the sequel. But he's like trying to take his swing at being a leading character. So
yeah. Well, and I thought he did good in this movie, so I would probably watch something with him again. And I did see Top Gun Maverick, but I do not remember him in that. Josh Brolin taking over for Richard Dawson. Well, actually, no, he's not taking over for. He sort of is. They split Richard Dawson's character as the bad guy. Dawson is the host and the producer in the original, and in this you have Josh Brolin as the producer of The Running Man and all these other shows where people are doing stupid things and getting hurt. But yeah, Josh Brolin, obviously he was in Goonies and what? Oh, I just saw. I'm terrible at remembering
Mimic.
these.
He's in Mimic, Goonies,
names.
No Country for Old Men.
Yes. Next time I'll have to get in here and actually add
Sicario.
the names of these things. But yeah, he's a great actor. I thought he did a good job in this movie. You did not like him, the
funny part is that you said like, oh, the first thing you remembered of him is Goonies. So when I went to go see this film, like my wife was like, I don't want to go see Running Man. And I'm like, okay, so you know what? I'm like, my mom loves movies. I'm like, hey, you want to go see The Running Man with me? And she's like, yeah, I'll go. And right when she saw him, and we saw after the film, she's like, wow, Brad. She calls him Brad from the Goonies. She goes, it's pretty good, this movie. Like,
That's awesome that she actually calls him by his name, by his character name.
Yeah, Brad from the Goonies is actually pretty good in this movie. I'm like, oh. So it made me laugh that you said, the first thing you said was the Goonies.
Right. Well, and the thing is, he's been in so many. I mean, he's Thanos. And I wasn't even thinking of that. Like, but of course, Thanos, he doesn't necessarily look like Thanos. You know, so it's, yeah, he's been in so many things, been around for a long time. But I mean, hey, I'm a child of the 80s. So, you know, you give me some Goonies, you know, all this. He was also in Deadpool 2. He was Cable. Like, he's been.
Oh, yeah, he wasn't that.
Yeah. Okay, who we got? Jamie Lawson again. No idea who this person is. I found that all the side characters, not all of them, but a number of the side characters were actors that I had heard of, right? But the leads were all people that were new to me. I don't think they're new, but they were new to me. She was in The Batman. Sinners is one that she was in just recently, and The Woman King. So she's got a pretty good resume already. I just don't follow this stuff very closely.
The only reason I knew her was because of Sinners. And I know my brother-in-law is going to punch me. He's been telling me to watch The Penguin for a long time. I guess she's in that show too as well. It's from her Batman character. I haven't been able to get around to it.
Right. Oh, and I guess we should say it's the most recent Batman, the Batman.
Yeah, I mean, people kind of. I would figure she's pretty young.
Yeah. All right. William H. Macy as Moley. Again, this is a guy I know. He's been around forever. You know, so it's like all the sort of side characters that don't get a ton of time were the ones that I'm like, oh, I know that guy.
Yeah, very, very short in the film too. I think he's like maybe in like 8 minutes.
Yeah. Lee Pace, again, another one. He's been in stuff, but again, I'm not big on it. But he was also
Pace,
Guardians of the Galaxy.
Yeah,
Bodies. I've seen.
Oh God, you've seen that movie?
Yeah, it's not very good.
Lee Pace, to be honest with you, this is one of the few people that I'm like, I don't know who that is. I can't remember a film that I saw him in.
Well, he was his biggest movies, I think, were probably the Hobbit movies, and those are just straight garbage. Those are terrible movies.
So Tony would be excited to hear that because he is a huge fan of the downfall of Lord of the Rings. Yeah, I've never watched any of the Hobbit films. I've watched the Lord of the Rings, and then after that, I like Peter Jackson. I can't get into the Hobbit stuff. I just can't. I don't know. I try.
Well, the Hobbit is actually like I've read the Hobbit and Lord of the Rings a number of times. The Hobbit is one of my favorite all-time books. And when I went to see the Hobbit, I was like, well, this is the shortest of all those books. It's clearly just going to be one movie since the other books were kind of one movie. And I'm sitting there in the theater 2 hours in, and I'm like, what the hell is going on here? Like, how long is this movie? I've got my whole family there. I'm like, are we going to be here for like 6 hours on this thing? And then it ends, and I'm like, what is happening? And they're like, it's a trilogy. I'm like, how did you make the shortest book in the series into a trilogy? Well, I'll tell you how. It's not. The Hobbit is not the Hobbit. That's not the story. He totally made he went with a completely different story that you have to like be a damn J.R.R. Tolkien like bibliophile to understand what the hell he's talking about in these, where all these people come from in these different stories. I went and I saw the second one too, just because I'm like, okay, maybe this. I've never seen the third one. I just gave up.
Sitting in a theater for 2 hours and assuming it was going to be a 6-hour movie didn't prevent you from seeing the second one.
No, I didn't know. When I went to the theater the first time, I thought it was just going to be a normal movie. It was just going to go through the book, and then I was going to be done. But once we hit like the 2-hour mark, I'm like, how are we going to get through this movie? Right? Like, I was like, this doesn't make any sense to me. And then they ended the movie right after that. And I was just like, this sucks. Like, what is happening? Because I don't watch regular TV. I don't see commercials. I don't see a lot of previews unless I specifically go look for it. And when I found out they were making a Hobbit movie, I didn't go watch the previews. I didn't need to. I've read the book like 10 times. Like I didn't. So I was just really surprised. It was bad. Lee Pace he's okay in this movie. His face is covered through 90% of his scenes. So who knows if that's even him? You know. Coleman Domingo. So this is the second part of Richard Dawson's character. In the original, Richard Dawson was the producer, but he was also the host. Coleman Domingo takes over the host parts. He's good, but I don't know. He didn't have a lot to do. You know what I mean? Like they didn't give this character too much. So, what do you know about Coleman Domingo? Because this is another guy that I had to look up.
So he was in Fear of the Walking Dead. That's probably one of his big spinoffs. And again, another show I never watched. He was in Selma, and he was also in Lincoln. But Fear the Walking Dead is probably where he gets a lot of his recognition from.
Right. Yeah, and I never got into those. I've read a couple of the comics, but the show, that show went for like a decade or something like that, right?
So that show, The Walking Dead, that was out when I was in I was in high school or anything, but it was when I started working at the county in 2010. That's when it first came out. I watched the first season and I thought it was great. And then the second season, I'm like, okay, they can't continue. So you're eventually going to die. And they milked the hell out of that show. It went on for 12 years. I think then they did the Fear of the Walking Dead. And then they did
they're still milking that stuff.
Yeah, they did Daryl, which is based with our guy Scud from Blade 2. I can't think of his name. What the hell's his name?
Scud. Oh, you're killing me.
You know who I'm talking about. He's Jesus Christ. This is great radio. Oh, Norman Reedus. They did
Norman Reedus. Yes.
They did Daryl with him. The Walking Dead, Daryl Dixon for 3 years. And it just ended this year, which I guess he was the most favorite character. So they just kept going.
Right. Well, and I mean, that makes sense that Coleman Domingo is in this. Like if you're in one of those Walking Dead shows, you're going to have a following. And like I said, he did a good job. He just didn't have a ton to do. He was literally they took Richard Dawson's character and made it 2 characters, gave Josh Brolin kind of all the good, juicy stuff, and gave Coleman Domingo the hosting duties.
Yeah, he does a good job, though. He's pretty hilarious for his small role he does.
Katie O'Brien, this is another one. I did not know who she was. And for the life of me, Katie O'Brien sounds like the most Irish name you could possibly ever have. And I would have bet my house that she was a Latina actress.
She's from Indianapolis, Indiana. Yeah, I thought she was Irish too. Because I was looking for her name. I'm like, what's her name? And then I found it was Katie O'Brien. But I know her from, she was in Mission Impossible, The Final Reckoning, and she's also in the Mandalorian series as a side character. Which she does a good job in. So that's where I know her from. But I know she's in other films too.
Right. And I'm looking at this Mandalorian. I probably would have seen her because she did look sort of familiar. But yeah, I haven't seen any of the Mission Impossible movies after the second one. I tapped out real hard after Mission Impossible 2 and refuse. But she was also in Twisters. I'm looking here.
I don't remember her in Twisters. Then again, I didn't really like Twisters, so.
Yeah. So, but yeah, Martin Herlihy. This is a guy that not only did I not know him going into the movie, I still don't know. Like he's the most generic person that you could possibly be. So, yeah. So who is this guy? What does he have going on? Please Don't Destroy. This is another, like he was in that. That's kind of one of those, it's a comedy troupe that made a movie. He was on Saturday Night Live. but not one of the big names. Hubie Halloween.
Yeah, to be honest with you, I never heard of him. Also, just to go like kind of peeking behind the curtain here, when I do these PowerPoint presentations, I try to get pictures from the film of the characters, so you can relate the name to the character's face. For O'Brien and for this character, the Running Man 2025, they're being kind of like assholes with putting pictures of the characters.
Oh, really?
Out there. Yeah, so I had to cut. If you notice, this is a crop picture, and Katie O'Brien's picture is also cropped because I only could find one or two pictures of them, and they're mostly ensemble pictures. So very, very difficult to find them in scenes on the internets.
Yeah, and and he is it looks like he is an actor, but he's got a bunch of writing as well, because like I said, with that Please Don't Destroy, he's part of that like comedy troupe that wrote that whole thing. He was a writer on SNL as well as, small parts, which is kind of how SNL works. But Hubie Halloween, that's kind of, that might be his biggest movie.
Hubie Halloween.
Is Hubie Halloween. Unless, and I know there's probably people out there, Please Don't Destroy the Treasure of Foggy Mountain, who are probably like screaming like, that's a great movie. It probably is. I'm an old man and I didn't catch it when it came.
Well, apparently he's in Happy Gilmore too. I didn't see that movie yet, so.
Which that totally makes sense because obviously, if you work with Adam Sandler one time, there's a very good chance you will work with Adam Sandler again, as long as you're not a jerk. Daniel Ezra, he was Bradley. Now, this is a character where the remake starts to break away from. Oh, I guess we should say Katie O'Brien and was it Hurley? Mm-hmm. They basically take the place of the two convicts that Arnold Schwarzenegger is running with. Like they're
Weiss
the other two
and,
contestants.
Laughlin.
Yeah. And then so Daniel Ezra is sort of the new character for this movie in the remake, because in the remake, those two that Schwarzenegger was running with, they were part of sort of this underground. And in this movie, Daniel Ezra is sort of doing some of that work. He's looking into the show, and he's producing his own sort of underground videos about it. So,
yeah, which are really pretty funny.
Yeah. So, but I don't know what he did before.
He's a TV star. So Ezra has done All American, which is a TV series. He's done Discovery of Witches, Prey, mostly miniseries or TV. He's done a couple films, Blood Cells. Which is
when you said Prey, is that the Predator movie?
No, it's a Manchester detective. So it's an English series.
I was gonna say, because that Prey Predator movie was excellent. Since we're talking about Arnold Schwarzenegger, like that was woo.
Yes, I loved it.
It was great. Michael Cera, obviously Michael Cera from everything, is in this, and again, what they consolidated into a couple of people in that first movie, they broke out into different characters. And he is the true sort of underground guy trying to bring down the government. Elton Parakis, I think he does a great job in this. As an actor, the writing for him fell off a little bit, but we'll get into that.
So when I'm gonna be honest with you, when I saw Michael Cera in this film, and I didn't know who he was going this blind, I thought he was the Lee guy with the mask on. I'm like
oh geez,
I'm like, please let it be Michael Cera, please let it be Michael, because it would have been hilarious. But yeah.
But again, he was the lead in Scott Pilgrim versus the World, so working with Edgar Wright yet again. Emilia Jones, again, another actress I didn't know much about. So she is in the I guess, the Maria Conchita Alonso role as the female. She's not the female lead because that would be the wife, but she shows up later in this movie, and I don't know. I think she's in the book, so it makes sense for this movie. But there's no. She wouldn't. She's sort of, like I said, I guess the Maria Conchita Alonso. She ends up running with him, but she's not part of the game show.
Yeah, she's from Coda, the film Coda, which won Oscars. Incident at Ghostland, she's in that. Brimstone, Charlie Harper, she's in those films.
And I will apologize. I was actually a little bit more prepared when we were doing this before, but then I was like, oh, I'll remember all this. I really need to write this stuff down.
No, it's totally fine. So I just decided to do this as a breakdown of the cast instead of us having, just all of them on one page and people like having to look through the whole page. But yeah, she, well, when we get to more of the breakdown of the film, I can go through it.
Yeah. So the budget of this movie was $110 million. The box office was $50 million, but it's only been out for a couple of weeks. But obviously, if you're not going to make your money back in the first week or two, you're probably not making your money back. So it's not going to be a huge box office movie. That being said, I believe it might already be out on Amazon to rent. And if it's not, it's going to be like
soon.
I think I saw that. Yeah, I feel like I might have seen it coming, that it was already out. So yeah, the box offices for these new ones are going to be tough because of the way that they bring this out. And that's too bad because this was a great time in the theater. And I'm not going to, I don't subscribe to that. Like, you should see it in a theater versus on your TV at home. Do what you want. But I thought this was a good enough movie that it would have gotten more, like if it had a longer run, I think the word of mouth would have gotten people into seats. But there's no point to it because the word of mouth just gets people to Amazon now.
That is true.
Yeah.
Jeff
The
Bezos.
ratings. Oh, what were you going to say?
Jeff Bezos, that's how I say.
Yeah. Rating 6.7 out of 10 on IMDb, which is interesting because the original was 6.6, 64% certified fresh on Rotten Tomatoes. The original was 59%. So these are very similar numbers. And then 3.2 stars on Letterboxd. I'm not super aware of Letterboxd, but that's out of 5, right?
Yeah, so Letterboxd is where movie files, cinephiles go on and they rate movies. And they write little, paragraphs about it. I used to do that. I just don't have time to do that. So because I do a movie podcast, so I just rather just speak about it.
Well, you do 2 movie podcasts. You're also running Sadistic Penguin's like website. Oh, you also have a job.
Yeah. So I just don't have time to do it. I know people have always said, "Why don't you do it?" I'm like, I just don't have time. But it's a very popular application. I know a lot of people on it.
I have actually heard a lot about it. I just again am not super aware of it because I'm an old man and I used to be way more in on the social media, but then as social media started to become what it is now, I just started easing off of it.
I don't blame you.
Yeah, it's just like being in the theater. I want to be on social media, but without all those people. I want less people in there with me.
So that is our breakdown of the basic cast and director. We're going to start off with our look into the actual 1987 film, which is pretty much following a dystopia that basically the government is run by a network. People are starving, but in this film, it's basically an adaptation of the Stephen King novel, The Running Man. I want to say Michael Jordan. I don't know why, but Arnold Schwarzenegger, basically
the goats.
Yeah, the goats.
Why not?
He is a goat. Arnold Schwarzenegger basically is a soldier convicted of a false crime. They wanted him to fire upon people rioting for food. And he decided not to. He fought back and they threw him in jail and said he killed all those people, even though he did not do so. The military did. He's in there trying to escape. He meets up with these two other convicts who we don't know what they really done, which are Laughlin and Weiss. They escape from the jail to where they find and meet Mr. Mick Fleetwood, who removes the explosive device on their necks. And he eventually tries to get away to another part of the country by basically breaking into Maria's apartment, which he thought was his brother's.
Yeah, so you're right. And the two that he broke out with are part of this underground network. And Mick Fleetwood as Mick, because you don't want to give a singer too much to remember. But yeah, so Mick Fleetwood is the leader of the underground. They get over there and but Schwarzenegger is not a part of it, right?
No.
So he just decides, y'all do what you want. I am going to Hawaii, which I thought was hilarious because I watched this right after I went to Hawaii. But he was all into going, I'm going to Hawaii. And so he bails on them immediately and ends up hooking up with Maria Conchita Alonso because she lives in his brother's old apartment. And he didn't realize his brother didn't live there.
Yeah, his brother was actually sent away from reassignment or reassignment therapy, which means the government is basically going to turn him into a zombie or lobotomize him. So while trying to escape, he is caught by the police, and seeing him run from the cops gets Richard Dawson all hot and heavy as he hosts a show called The Running Man, which has criminals fight for their freedom by being chased by stalkers throughout the various course. Now, this is, of course, a different take on the book, as in the book is you are basically let out into society, and society can either help you or turn against you and get money for reporting you to where your location is. And this film, it's more of a controlled area, which I always thought was funny too.
They said it was 400 blocks of a city that had been, which, did you get an idea of what city it was? I feel like maybe they said it, but 400 blocks has got to be like a New York or something.
Yeah.
Maybe LA.
And it all looks the same. So, I mean, do we really see 400 blocks? Not
no,
really.
Absolutely not. But that's just sort of what they said. So it's like you said, it's a controlled area that they send them into so that they can film it and everything. And since you brought up the book, so I watched this movie, honestly, probably 1988 when it came out on VHS. And then I read the book in early to mid 90s and remember reading the book and going, wow, this is quite a bit different. And I really liked the book, but I didn't realize how different it was, or I hadn't remembered how different it was until I watched it the other day, watched this movie.
Yeah, it's vastly different from the book. Doesn't make it bad, which is surprisingly, because I'm always like, oh, the book is better than the film. I mean, I do enjoy the book greatly, but the film isn't actually as bad as you would think.
And we're going to get into the book a little bit more when we talk about the new movie, because the new movie does adhere to the book quite a bit more closely.
Yes. So eventually, Richards is told that he can get free if he basically survives in The Running Man against the stalkers, which he agrees to do so because they have a department of entertainment in the White House, which I always thought was hilarious, that Dawson basically calls up to him and gets him on the show. And during this time, Maria is actually conflicted because she finds out that Schwarzenegger was telling the truth. He didn't kill those people. His stuff was manipulated. And she actually ended up going down into the Running Man course with him along with his other two sidekicks.
Yeah, they actually blackmail Schwarzenegger's character, Ben Richards, into being on the show ultimately, because they had caught the two guys that he escaped with, and they're like, they're going to be on the show,
Or you are.
or you are, and then they double cross him and put all three of them on.
I'll be back. Only in a rerun.
Oh my God. Let's talk about that for a moment. Yes. So at this point, I'll be back is a famous line. It's from Terminator. It's amazing. You can't have Arnold Schwarzenegger say, I'll be back in a completely different movie. Can you?
No, but it reminds me of that joke. I don't know if you've seen it. It's a meme where it's like so Sylvester Stallone, Jean-Claude Van Damme, and Arnold Schwarzenegger, and Sylvester Stallone's like, guys, I just wrote a great script about three great composers of the 20th century. I'm gonna be Mozart, Jean-Claude is gonna be Beethoven, and Arnold's like, I'm not going to be him, which is like, I'll be Bach. Like,
Yeah.
Bach. So that was the joke, but yeah, it's something that basically has followed him around. And if you find out the original, the origin of that, he didn't really want to say that. James Cameron told him, hey, do I tell you how to act? And he's like, no. He said, then don't tell me how to fucking write my movie. Which is a story that Schwarzenegger has told, which is funny.
And James Cameron is obviously brilliant, and he was correct, because that line is the line from that movie.
Yeah, and it's gone to follow Arnold his whole career.
Into this movie, they're about to send him down this chute in this little pod thing, and he says, I'll be back, to Richard Dawson. And I don't know. Maybe if I'm watching this in 1987, maybe I'm into that line. Maybe I'm like, oh, that's awesome that he said that. But in 2025, I'm just like, really? Come on, guys.
Yeah, it cracks me up. But as Richards goes down and he fights against the Stalkers, which I revealed earlier, are played by the Tanaka guy, Professor Tanaka, who's Sub-Zero, has probably one of the funniest deaths in the film. And Arnold's line, now he's just plain Zero, is probably one of the worst lines ever. But it's delivered by Arnold and made me laugh. What'd you think of that whole sequence there?
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's ridiculous, obviously. First off, the Stalkers. This is one thing that drives me nuts when they do either an adaptation or a remake of a story, and they change some little bit that is inconsequential completely. In the book, these are called hunters. And then they just call them stalkers. Why? What was the point of changing that part of it? Or they'll change. It's ridiculous. I rubbed up against that right away. I'm like, why stalkers? But these stalkers that they create are like WWF personalities. They all have a specific thing. And Sub-Zero Tanaka came out, and he's attacking them as a hockey player and trying to kill them with, I don't know, a sharpened hockey stick.
Yeah, and throws him. He puts Weiss into a goal.
Yeah, that was the other thing too. Like, he chases Weiss down, Weiss falls, and you think he's going to get killed, but no. Instead, the hockey net closes as a little cage so that he wouldn't kill him, which seemed like the antithesis to the show. But also, this is another spot where this breaks away from the book. In the book, you're just out running in the world. In this TV show, they basically got sort of directed. Like, whatever they did, they ended up on this ice skating rink.
Yeah,
Like,
that's one thing I did notice, and that's, I guess, will be kind of a pet peeve, or a more of a me nitpicking, was how the hell were they like kind of forced into those areas to fight? Like, what if Sub-Zero wasn't the guy picked? What if they picked some other guy? Like, would they force them to go into that or lead them towards that area? So were those
See-
people on like the motorcycles chasing them towards those areas?
Right. See, and I think, yeah. And again, this is an hour and a half movie. They did not have a ton of time to build out a lot of this stuff, but I think somehow they were directing them to this because ultimately they end up in the movie. It just makes it seem like they're like, oh, why are we in a hockey rink? Like, how did they get there? But yes, it seems odd that a random person watching the show chose who the person would be. She chose Sub-Zero to be the first stalker, and then they ended up in this ice skating rink going up against Sub-Zero.
Yeah, and then they fight Buzzsaw and Dynamo, which Dynamo is the most ridiculous character. Who
Oh my
sings
God.
Opera.
Dynamo, if you have not seen this movie, Dynamo is an electric man. He has all these like Christmas lights all over him, and he can shoot you with electricity. He is also a very heavy individual, and he sings opera. Like he is supposed to be like a Pavarotti. Like who decided, you know what would be a great character hunting down Arnold Schwarzenegger? Fat Pavarotti in a light bulb suit.
Well, I think
Driving a car that's too small for him.
I think they tried to like make it eccentric because we're in the year 2025. But it makes me laugh because Arnold actually calls him Christmas tree. He's like, "Hey, Christmas tree!" when he sees him. His character is by far the weakest in terms of like cool. Like Buzzsaw was just a crazy guy with a saw.
Not only is it the weakest character, this Dynamo, but also gets more time. Comes back later in this movie.
Gets kicked in the nuts, yeah. To get electrocuted.
Yeah.
But without going any more into the story, that's basically the plot of the film. I want to more go into what I liked about this film. So what I liked about this film, Cotton, was one, it's nostalgic. I grew up watching it. I really like that aspect of it, and that's what kind of makes me love for this film as well as reading this. Even though the book and it are completely different, the nostalgia of it really, really kind of made my love for it grow in that sense.
So that's a bad sign, Yumper. when the thing you like about the movie is that you remember how you felt when you were a kid watching it, when that's the first thing you can bring up, it's probably not good. I will 100% agree with you. I did enjoy this movie. I watched it the other day, and I still like it. It's fun. It is Arnold Schwarzenegger action at its kind of wildest, right? Because you have all these crazy characters. You know, the stalkers each have like this WWF persona that they're using. And there's a specific way that they're trying to kill these people, which, by the way, all those ways that they're trying to kill them are the way that Arnold Schwarzenegger kills them back, right? So it's like Sub-Zero gets killed by, well, actually, he got wrapped up in
he got wrapped up in the barbed
razor
wire. That was around his rink. So I mean, he was killed by something in his rink.
Yeah, but it was in his rink. Yeah, and all these characters, like you look, the guy that has chainsaw, he would have been better off. Buzzsaw would have been better off fighting Schwarzenegger without the chainsaw. He relies way too heavy. So if you're watching this is the thing I was thinking. Like all the stalkers rely way too much on their gimmick and their weapon to do this thing, trying to kill him, and then he's ultimately able to turn that gimmick back on them somehow.
Yeah, that's probably the downfall of the villains, like their weak points. But in terms of like not just the nostalgia for the film, you have Arnold with his one-liners,
Right.
which is great. Now, in terms of like stuff that I didn't like, one thing I didn't like is their shallow characters. Like Laughlin and Weiss, they never really, like you said, they never really explain what they did like they're part of this underground crew, okay, but what was their backstory? They never really explained what the thing was on there. It had some cheesy special effects in the film. That was like one of the things that I guess limited it a little bit. I didn't like that was all in one big 400 block thing. I did like the whole open world thing in the book, which kind of took it away from me. And of course, it's really, really predictable for how this movie's going to end.
Yeah. Yeah, I enjoyed it for the spectacle that it is, right? That whole nostalgia and the whole like wild action movie style that they were doing at the time is fun. It really is, but you are 100% correct. The only character that gets any sort of backstory is Arnold Schwarzenegger. We don't know anything about any of the other characters at all. There's nothing about them that makes you you just don't know anything. So Jesse Ventura, which you're showing right now, like he is Captain Freedom. He's like maybe a military guy at one point, but like maybe not. Maybe that was just his gimmick, but he's killed all these people in this game show and he's Captain Freedom, which is a great name for a guy who kills people who are criminals and going to jail.
And the thing too is his character was really, really like shallow because I wonder, like there's a part where he's taking like a steroid, I guess, to calm himself down. Like he's popping pills. Like I don't know if that could have been like a subplot that they wanted to include. I wish they would have put more of him in there. And eventually he just like they want him to go out in that stupid outfit and he's like, I'm not going out there like this. And he basically walks away.
Yeah, he's like a retired guy, a retired stalker, and he's doing commentary on the show now. And then they bring him out of retirement to go after Schwarzenegger, but he refuses. And then we get into one of the more interesting things that I did not remember from this movie, the deep fake. So they go in and because Jesse Ventura decided he would not go in and fight this guy in this like ridiculous suit, he was like, I'm just going to fight him with my bare hands. Richard Dawson basically fires him, tells him to leave. And then you see this whole series where they're doing the 1980s version of mapping someone's face onto a different face in video. They're doing it on the computer. It's really like 1980s graphic-y, like looked awesome in the 80s, but is not how it's done at all anymore. But they created this fake video about where Captain Freedom fights Arnold Schwarzenegger and kills him, which in reality, it was two separate just stunt doubles who were made to look like them through their computer video deepfake technology that they had. And they actually killed one of the guys for no reason. He was just one of the guys.
I think so. It wasn't stunt doubles. It was actually two people he actually killed previously. They just mapped over the faces of them.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
See,
so it was from his previous battle he had.
Okay, because I swear the woman says like you didn't have to kill him, and I
thought she was talking about Ben Richards.
Oh, right. Okay. No, I see what you're saying. Yeah, I don't know. It was I didn't quite understand that, but basically you were getting into deep fake stuff, and also the whole Ben Richards storyline is when he started this game show to make him the villain that he is. They called him the butcher of whatever.
Butchers of Bakersfield.
Yeah, because they blamed him for murdering all these people who were peacefully protesting. But when you see the video, it's doctored to make him look like he had decided to kill all those people with his gunship helicopter against the orders of the military, when in fact it was exactly the opposite. So again, that's like that deep fake sort of thing, which in 1987 and even for that, right? Like they had to come up with this. That's really wild stuff, especially since it's set in 2025. And one of our big things right now in 2025 is deepfakes being this sort of technology that you can do this. Like,
Yeah.
I was amazed that because I had completely forgotten about that part of the movie. And I thought it was great. And it was amazing that it was so relevant to our time right now, this almost 40-year-old movie. So
Yeah.
really good in that sense.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy how it relates a lot to what's going on with the government basically censoring, putting out, I mean, anything on the web, putting out false information that the government's been accused of now, and it's happening in the damn 1980s. So, and they're showing it now.
Yeah.
In real
Obviously, the technology that they use to do these things is totally different, right? But just that concept that somebody would be doing this to alter how you're looking at people and alter people's innocence or guilt was amazingly prescient.
Yeah, propaganda.
Yeah. And and then I have to say, so this movie sort of rode a line with me, right? I enjoyed the nostalgia of it. I enjoyed the over-the-top action, bad one-liners, all of this stuff, while also hating certain things about it. And, you know, the worst thing in this movie is the death of Richard Dawson. So at the end of this movie, look, there's no such thing as spoilers. I'm going to tell you exactly what happened right here. If you haven't seen this, whatever, it's been 40 years. Go watch the damn movie. Schwarzenegger grabs Dawson, sticks him in that little pod cage thing that sends you into the Running Man arena. That pod thing is a metal cage. Dawson is just a guy. They shoot it down there with air. Like you see him crank up the air so that it's much higher than when they shot him down. And he hits it. So Richard Dawson shoots through these tunnels in this cage way faster. And at the end, he flies out. And instead of just crashing on the ground like Schwarzenegger did, he flies up in the air, you know, ostensibly because there was so much air pressure behind him, flies through the air and right into a billboard of Richard Dawson for the Running Man and explodes. A billboard, a wooden billboard, a metal cage, and a human all come together and explode in like this amazing fireball. I don't know what happened there, but it was insane how big of an explosion that was.
Yeah. The crazy part is when I was doing some research for this, the original villain death was scrapped for Killian. The rocketed one was the one that came through, but an earlier draft had an even wilder end of the film. One idea was that he'd be killed by the network's own stalkers or torn apart by the audience. And another rumor claims that the scene was conceived where Killian would be dumped into a cage of wild animals, aka alligators.
Oh, why?
The budget and tone likely nixed these ideas, leading to a slightly simpler but still satisfying. Now, if you're Cotton, rockets led into a billboard death.
Yeah, it's insane. And then of course there's the whole subplot where there's this underground who are trying to take control of the airwaves and broadcast this stuff. They ultimately get a hold of the undoctored footage of Schwarzenegger.
That's somehow at the movie, the network that anybody can walk into and basically look through.
Yeah. And so they get this footage. They get control of these satellite relays, which happen to be in this 400 block area of this city. And basically they exonerate Arnold Schwarzenegger's characters, right? He's no longer guilty because you see what actually happened. But that's all that happened. It did not bring down the government. There was this idea that that's what they were working towards. But when they actually did it, all it did was just prove Schwarzenegger wasn't guilty. And then Schwarzenegger and Maria Conchita Alonso go in and with a strike team to the studio and kill all the studio heads and the people working for the networks. And then, of course, Maria Conchita Alonso was able to get revenge on Dynamo, who was trying to rape her. And just for the reason that we could see a fat man in his tighty whities and a Christmas tree suit or whatever the hell he's wearing. Why was he
still wearing that? I don't understand. Why was he walking around in his tighty whities with the stuff on him still?
Right. I don't know, man.
Come to me, my love.
Yeah. So then they kill everybody in the studio, and Schwarzenegger goes on and launches Richard Dawson. End of movie. No idea. That whole subplot, no clue what that did to make things better. Right? Like, other than making it so Schwarzenegger wasn't guilty. That's it. I have no idea. So it would have been great. Plot twist. Yeah, it would have been great if the crowd had seen it and then attacked Richard Dawson. That would have been a much better ending.
Yeah, definitely would have been better. One last gripe I have about this film, don't get me wrong, I enjoyed this film, is Maria Conchita Alonso falling in love with Arnold. It made no sense, but it's 80s, so I guess she had to fall in love with Arnold. I can see her being like, oh, I was wrong about him, but then she fell in love with him and kissed him in the rubble, which made no sense to me. But
yeah, there was not a lot of the story was very weak on this. This movie is very much about the action, the spectacle. It is a fun movie to watch, but the story is very weak. But I mean, that's actually a good transition into the new Running Man, because the new Running Man, the story is actually much better, much stronger, because it actually goes with the Stephen King story, The Running Man, which, if you want to read it, it is in the Bachman books. He originally wrote this as a novella under the name Richard Bachman back when he was using a pseudonym because of reasons. He couldn't do certain things because they thought his name, they thought the books were not Stephen King books. Like his publisher didn't necessarily like it. So he's like, well, let's just change who the author is and we'll put these out. And then once he got found out, they compiled these into The Running Man, or into the Bachman books, which, interestingly enough, The Long Walk, which is a movie that just came out recently, is another one of the Bachman books. So if you've seen that movie or you've been interested in it and you get the Bachman books, you can read the original, The Long Walk and The Running Man in there.
yeah.
Yeah. So did you read the Running Man book?
Yes, I actually read I had a really cool English teacher in high school, and that was one of the first books we read was The Running Man, and then we actually read The Shining too, from him. So that's how I discovered the book. I saw the 1987 movie first before I read the book. I didn't read it until I got to high school.
Right. Yeah, and that's how I saw it as well, and then realized, oh, the book is much better. I liked the theme of the book. I liked how things worked in it, and the ending was excellent. So just for everybody to know, the new story, or not the new story, but the new movie follows the book, which, again, I think is 2025, but it might not be. But
yeah, I think it's still 2025.
Yeah. It's a dystopian nightmare. Everybody's poor, except for there's like a lot of poor people and a lot of rich people. The rich people are media types that sort of they're connected with the government. The media and the government are the same. And then the Ben Richards' character has a job. He gets fired because he basically he was a whistleblower about certain issues going on at the place, and so they fired him. We meet him at the very beginning trying to get his job back, which, by the way, when we meet him, that actor was in Dexter. What's that guy's name?
Zayas.
David Zayas. I like David Zayas a lot, and I was really surprised to see him in there. Very small bit, but he's a great actor. It was fun to see him.
He's also in Oz, the HBO series Oz. He plays one of the Latino drug kingpins.
Yeah, he's a great actor. I will watch him in most anything. So Ben Richards in there trying to get his job back. He can't. Goes home. His daughter has cancer or some sick. It's influenza.
Yeah, she just has the flu.
Yeah. And so she's really sick, but they can't afford to get her any the right medical care. His wife comes home. They say she's a waitress at a dance club or whatever. You do kind of understand it's a strip club, and that some of the women there may be doing more than just stripping to make extra money. And Ben Richards does not want his wife falling into that, because that's sort of, they make you feel like that's where you're going to go with this idea.
Yeah, and to paint a broad picture, basically the rich are separated from the poor. When he goes to the network to try to get a job on a show, he has to go through a barrier, and they ask him what he's doing there, and he says he's going to go audition for a show, and they'll say no loitering or you will be shot. So they're following him, watching him, and the area where the network is where all the rich people live. Also in the book, she actually was selling herself for money. That's how poor they were.
Right. Yeah, this story was a little bit more graphic and dark, even than this movie. But and we'll get into that too, because this movie does get away from the story a little bit. It's just much closer to it. But yeah, so he decides he's watching all these game shows. This is what the rich people do. They watch TV with these game shows where poor people are trying to earn money. And the way they do it is on all these crazy, they did like this hamster wheel thing where a fat guy is running on a hamster wheel and they're asking him questions. And if he gets them wrong, the wheel goes faster. And
if he gets them right, they get more money.
Yeah, he gets his money, or the money just goes to his family if he dies, which I think he dies in this. Like, it's all these game shows are putting regular humans at physical risk in order to get money. And that's the society that they're in. Ben Richards wants to be on this show because he wants to earn some money to get his daughter the meds that they need. So he goes to audition. Now, he does not want to be on The Running Man. He actually wants to be on any of the other shows, but you have to audition for everything. And then they just they put you through a bunch of physical tests and they see where you're at. They film your attitude, all of this stuff. And when he gets done, they're like, we want you for The Running Man, and we're not going to let you be on any of the other shows, even if even if that's what you want, because he did not want to do it.
Yeah, and if he survives 30 days on The Running Man, he gets $1 billion, or his family will get. I think he gets credits every day he survives. Money will be transferred to his family's account. They'll be put in safe hiding. Also, he has to make a video every day of himself, which I thought was kind of weird. And he has to deliver it.
It is, but then you find out why they're doing that later, because when he sends these videos out, it's a way for them to track him. They're sort of quote unquote cheating. But
yeah, he even Josh Brolin's character Killian even sets him up at the first thing. He says, I'm gonna give you some advice, stick with your own, which is basically what they tell him. Don't stick with your own, as what Molly tells him.
Yeah,
like they'll sell you out for anything. But yeah, it's just Dystopia, which is kind of funny when you're talking about the TV show aspect of it. Our own person that's running border security, Attorney General, suggested maybe we have a TV show for giving immigration.
Yeah. It's insane how much, and you have to remember, listeners, this part of the movie is very much right with the story. Like this, in fact, this whole movie, right up until the maybe act 3 of the movie, does go pretty closely with the story, except for like the embellishments that they need to do in order to make it a movie, right? They don't actually change the story until act 3. But yeah, so he's on this show. He's going to start making money. And this is where we meet Hurley and O'Brien. What are their characters' names? Laughlin and, I don't know, dead white guy, I think is
Tim.
that guy's name.
Tim.
Yeah. And we don't know anything about Tim, but Laughlin is actually Ben Richards' neighbor. And she's excited to be on these shows. And the 3 of them get picked for the Running Man, which the Running Man is the one that you can make the most money. All the other ones are just sort of, you can make a little bit of money. It's really not worth it. Running Man also not worth it because basically you're going to die. Nobody's ever made it through the Running Man for 30 days. The longest anybody has ever made it was 29 days. And that's like the record. Nobody's ever actually gotten the $1 billion. So these other 2 get brought out on the stage. They're all 3 going to run together, but they do not know each other in the way that they did in the original movie.
Yeah, and also Richards goes into this knowing he's probably going to die, but the main thing is getting the money to his family. That's the main thing he's worried about.
Yeah, he just wants to, in his mind, if he can last, basically, if he lasts 1 week, I think he get 5,000 credits or dollar, it's whatever their dollars are. You had the picture up there earlier with Arnold Schwarzenegger on the money, which is excellent. But so he will get that 5,000, and that's basically how much money he needs to get the medicine for his daughter. So that's really his whole idea. But he's very strongly does want to get back. But I think in his head, his more realistic idea is just to get a week so that they can get the meds. So I love this picture you've got up here, Yumper, and for the podcast only listeners, it's a woman holding a very large version of their money. It's a $100 bill of new bucks, and it's got Arnold Schwarzenegger's face on it as if he's the president. Here's why I love this. A, Schwarzenegger does not show up in this movie other than this one spot. I did think he would make a cameo of some sort. I didn't think it would be like this. But B, in my own mind canon, this is a sequel to the original, in which Arnold Schwarzenegger took down the government somehow, whatever that underground plot was that they did, and they took down the government, and Schwarzenegger was the leader of that. All of a sudden, he becomes the president, and instead of making things better, he actually just continues it, so like, we're in the same timeline, except for Schwarzenegger, after the end of the original Running Man, just becomes the new president and continues with the game shows and continues with all of the horrible stuff. Because let's face it, we don't know anything about Schwarzenegger other than he won't fire. He's a military guy, and he won't kill people who are unarmed or whatever. But that's it. That's not a person. He could totally have been like, oh yeah, no, the way this has all been going, he was on board with it, right? So he's just like
Killian.
Say hello to the new boss. Same as the old boss. Like, it's just Arnold Schwarzenegger is from the original is now the Arnold Schwarzenegger who's in this on their money. That's my mind canon.
That's pretty hilarious.
Anyway, they get sent out, and unlike the original movie where it's 400 blocks and they only do, they end up fighting in these like weird arenas, they can go anywhere. And so they do, which I think is a better idea. It's more fun. And everybody who is out there, like the regular citizens, if you see one of these people and you phone it in and it's real, you get money. And if it leads to a capture or death of one of these people, you get a bunch of money. So it makes people want to call you out. You don't have anywhere to hide, really.
Yeah, and it's more towards the book because people can actually report you and get money for reporting you. And in a world where people are starving, they're not connected, it makes sense that they would report somebody on TV that they, and again, you go with the deep fakes of the original. This is more of a deep fake of making him out to be a bad person, but still drawing in that crowd that still loves him because you want to see him get killed. They paint him in a very negative, light, saying that he abandoned his family, while his wife was working as made his wife work as hooked his wife, prostituted his wife out and didn't take care of his daughter and stuff like that.
Yeah, that was totally different too. And I like that they let you in on that right away. So they're not criminals. They, at least at first, they make him out to be a criminal later when he starts killing the hunters. But they're not criminals. They're just people that you don't like. They make them out to be. And when he is on stage and he yells at Coleman Domingo about that, Domingo just turns around and he goes, I know, man. We're just playing it up for the TV. Like, I really liked that he sort of said that because they didn't make him a criminal. They just made him somebody you didn't like.
Yeah, it's like a show business, man.
Yeah. And let's be fair. Ben Richards in this incarnation is a hothead. He has a strong moral compass, but he's a jerk. He's a hothead. He yells at people. He fights with people a lot. Like, he's sort of antisocial. He's not your goody two shoes like the way that they made Schwarzenegger out to be.
Yeah, and he's more of a real person, I would say, in this film. I do like aspect I like about this film is that they show why he would survive in this kind of atmosphere, because when he's doing the training or the actual auditioning, when he's running, they show him running at his old previous jobs. They show him like jumping around from explosions under the mines and having to get away in time, climbing on stuff. Ridiculous jobs he was doing that were basically life threatening, but he had to make ends meet. They show why he was actually a good candidate for the show by surviving that stuff, and it prepared him to be able to survive in the show.
Right. Yeah, totally. They did such a better job with the story, with the character development. Still, the outside characters, not a lot of development in those, but there's not much you can do. They're secondary characters. At least they did a good job of building up who this one guy was, right? And then he gets out on they get running, and he goes and sees Molly and gets his disguises. Like, he immediately goes to disguises. And like you were saying, Josh Brolin told him to stay with his own people, but he was smart. He was like, no, I want to go where the rich people are. So he flew to New York or whatever. And then he went to Boston. Like, he's trying to be where there are lots of people so he wouldn't stick out quite so much. And he used disguises. So, but that's when we find out that when he does these videos, which he's trying to make it so that you can't tell where he's at, the hunters are not crazy WWF people. They're literally just a military strike force that when they find out where you are, they go there and they try and kill you. The hunters are tracking him because when he sends these things out in these special mailboxes, you know where that mailbox came from, so they can send people to it.
Yeah, basically the system's rigged against him, but
that's the whole idea of the show. Like, they don't hide that really.
Yeah, and one thing I did like, even though they didn't go to a big backstory of the other competitors with him, they did when he goes to the guy's house and he shows him his YouTube videos he's putting out, explaining the network's like view and how they do. There's the dumb guy, which is basically Tim, the person that basically doesn't care, just wants to spend all the money that they're getting, the credits they're getting every day, which is basically O'Brien's character, and then the wild card, which is him, which is the attention getter. It plays out to that formula, so they kind of explain why they're there. One thing I did like again too is this film is gorier than the original, like way gorier.
Which is crazy because back in the 80s, like, you would expect it to be gory, especially with how everything else was over the top. But yeah, the guy that you're talking about, that was Ezra, right? The actor. So when he's out running, he runs into this a young black kid finds him, and instead of calling him in, he takes him home and hides him out. And that's when we meet Ezra, and he's doing the YouTube videos talking about how the games are rigged and stuff, and it's not real. And through Ezra, he gets hooked up with the Michael Cera character, but he's got to get there. He's got to go, like, jump on a train and travel off grid to wherever, Virginia or whatever this guy is. He's somewhere down south in the woods. But he's got to go meet up with Michael Cera, and Michael Cera is going to help him win the game because Cera kind of knows even if you win the game, they're going to get rid of you. And so he is going to show that it's all a scam and put out these zines showing that, like, no, he actually won, but now he's gone.
Yeah, he writes a manifesto of everything, as well as he writes like underground paper as the government controls all the media, which again can be relatable to what's going on now. They're trying to control the media, but he tells him that he keeps telling him, like, you're the spark that's going to ignite the flame of basically having everybody rebel when they show what kind of people that are running this. And that's another reason I thought this film was really done really well, was because they give him a purpose, not just like that one man's going to stop all the problems in the world. He's going to be the person that, it's kind of like Hunger Games, like the Mockingjay. He's the person that gets the ball rolling and makes the change happen.
Yeah, I definitely like that too. There was not like this coordinated large underground effort. It was literally just this one. There was like a couple of guys talking about this stuff on the internet or whatever, and he literally just wanted to use him to hopefully spark some sort of revolution. At this time, Ben Richards figures out how the game's being played, understands where he's at, that it's all about ratings, and they're actually going to protect him for a while and let him live. So they're actually, the hunters are supposed to be trying to capture him and kill him, but he's such good ratings that they allow him to keep going. Once he figures that out, he uses it to his advantage, ends up on the plane with the hunters. They're going back to the thing, and this is where, so all the other contestants are dead. He's still living. His family's getting all this money. He gets on the plane. They trick him into killing the hunters or fighting back against the hunters with the idea that they're going to make a new game show where he is Hunter 6. And so they're going to bring him in. Instead of being a runner, he is going to be the new Hunter. He refuses. And Josh Brolin's character, the producer, actually takes control of the airplane, makes it look like he's trying to kill everyone. They shoot him down, and the world moves on, where they make it out to be that Ben Richards was a crazy person at the end and was trying to fly an airplane into a building. And that, like I said, this is where it differs from the story. So in the original story, he gets on this plane. They do try to recruit him to become a hunter. He refuses. He kills all of the hunters, but then he flies the plane. He does actually fly the plane into the building and kills the producer of the show.
Yeah, and he's actually mortally wounded, which I thought this film was actually going to kind of go down that way, because he is cut in the same way as he is in the book. He's sliced across the throat, the stomach. In the book, I thought he was gonna die, but one of the things I didn't like, well, there's two things I didn't like about this, was the cheesy ending with his family. That was kind of like, you never find it. Well, in the book, his family is killed. Like, they kill his family. And this one,
in the book, it is very dark.
Yeah,
there is no hope in the ending of that book.
Yeah, and this one, his family survives. Sorry, I'm spoiling, but he, the ending where he meets up with him, that was really cheesy. That was one thing I was like, come on, you don't need to put this. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That part was cheesy. Also, the revealing of the main commander. What's his name? Lee. A guy's name?
Lee Pace. Yeah.
Lee Pace. So when he was revealed, I was like, I guess it was supposed to be like this big reveal, and I was like, who the hell is that? Like,
they did a bad job of explaining who that was. If you have read the book, then you know. But if you just watch the movie, then you don't really realize he's the first runner. He's the guy that made it 29 days and then died. But he didn't really die. They just put a mask on him, and he's been leading this team of hunters ever since. And they do a very bad job of. So even though that is spoilers, it's also not spoilers, because you're probably not going to pick up on it from the way the movie handled it.
Yeah, it was, because they used this character called Decker the whole time.
Yeah,
when they're showing, and I thought it was going to be Decker, but it wasn't.
Yeah. No, and so the end of the movie comes. This, and like I said, the airplane crash, everything. It does, and at that moment, that's when all those zines actually do. Michael Cera's character had this thing set up. The zines do get out there. Ben Richards is like, we don't know if he's alive or dead, but the zine goes out. People start to realize the guy Ezra that helped him earlier is putting out these videos talking about what actually happened, and comes up with this like conspiracy theory that maybe he's still alive. And that idea does spark the world to turn off their televisions and stop buying into the propaganda, which is different than the book. But I thought it was kind of it was a Hollywood ending versus the Richard Bachman, Stephen King dark ending, but it was good. I thought it was done okay. I didn't bump up against the reunion with the family so much, but it was, I don't know. It was a much better ending how they finished this than in the original, even though it did get away from the book, but at least they kept it to understanding sort of this could have happened in the book,
Yeah. It makes the story of Bachman more palatable.
Right.
For those who are looking for a good story.
So I had a good time at this movie, and interestingly enough, I went to this movie with a friend of mine who lives down the street, Do you know what his job is?
He works for ICE.
He actually works for a startup who is developing software to identify deepfakes.
Oh man, he's gonna be
So
a
he was like
multimillionaire.
the perfect guy to go see this movie with. Yeah, he was really into it. He like it, and it was a well-made movie. It was fun, but just the fact that he is the guy that I went to see the movie with actually just made it that much better for me because literally this is his job.
That's awesome.
Literally his job is to fight against a lot of the deepfake stuff that is happening in this movie, which if you haven't seen the original, you would honestly think, oh, they did this for this movie. But it's not. This theme came from the original movie, and I'm honestly not 100% sure it came from the book. It may have been developed for the movie to show some of the stuff that
I can't
wasn't.
remember that aspect of the book. I think in the book it's more played on not Richard's like past. It's more on playing on society being so poverty stricken that they would do anything. Because in the book, there's actually a character that he goes to see that lives with his mom, that's supposed to help him. And this is where I thought I got the swerve from the Michael Cera character that turns him in. And he ends up killing him, but to survive. But that I think that was more of the play on the book, was more towards how even though they know it's wrong, they're so desperate to basically eat and live that they would just basically turn you into a bad person. I think that's what King was getting at in his novel. This one, they made it more propaganda related.
Well, and that idea came from the original movie, whereas because the original movie was really using that deep fake idea well before its time, but now it's in there. So even though they stuck more closely to the book, they did take a few things out of that original movie, which I thought they did a really good job. I honestly was worried going into this movie that they were going to take the WWF characters and make them actually the people hunting them. I'm glad they didn't. It was a much better movie this way, sticking closer to the book. But incorporating all that deepfake stuff was an excellent idea because those were great ideas from that original movie.
Yeah, it was. Since we're already talking about this, let's just go straight into.
I think we're ready
to go into our ratings here. Let me play this little flip.
Chow dear, chow dear, it's chowder. Say it right.
Chowder.
So for Act 3, we're gonna give you guys our verdict. Again, Reboot is a good movie, deserves to be there, could make sequels. Remake, meh, movie could be good, but literally the same as the original. Didn't need it to be made, but okay to watch. And we have a rename, had nothing to do with the original. And what's the other one? Cotton, you always give us out the fourth one.
Oh, rethink your reason for doing this job. Maybe go do a different thing with your life.
Yeah. So what is your thoughts on this film, Cotton? Where would you categorize the 2025?
Okay, so the 2025 is a reboot. This is a damn good movie. Now, I really enjoyed it. I think they did a great job with it. They stuck with the story to a point. The ending, the changes that they did make, I didn't think hurt the story. Like, it didn't make me angry that they went that direction. It was just well done. Glenn Powell, like I said, I didn't know who he was. I liked the guy. All the actors that I didn't really know, I thought did a good job in this. And so there wasn't like a real bad performance anywhere in there. The story held up. It was strong. I don't know that you can do sequels to this because obviously where does this story go? It would have nothing to do kind of with it, but as this standalone, this is a reboot. This was an excellent movie, and I'm going to throw a little curveball in here. The original Running Man, that should be the rename, because that had nothing to do with the story, The Running Man. And when I was watching, I'm like, you can't have the original be a rename, right? And I'm like, yeah, whatever, let's do it. So rename the original and let this movie stand on its own as not a remake at all.
I could see that. I would go a reboot for this film as well. It takes what worked in the original and also made their own whole spin on ideas that Bachman put out there or King put out there in his novel. I do like the upgraded CGI, the upgraded effects. I like Glenn Powell as a lead actor. I thought he did a great job. The characters are more filled, as in more rounded than they are in the original. The original was mostly on Arnold's star power. And this one, with Glenn Powell not really having that star power, I think it helped with the film being a well-rounded film in terms of story. I actually like this film better than the original, to be honest with you. I really enjoyed it that much, and that's even though I love the original for nostalgia, I actually really enjoyed this one. Just it became my favorite of the series, and I do hope they make sequels on this. Now, seeing that the box office is not that great, I don't know if it's going to have one, because unfortunately, if it doesn't make money that way, they kind of shelve it. But it would you set yourself up to kind of have him guide what's going to happen as they fight the rebellion.
And that's when you can bring Schwarzenegger back as the president on that money and tie it into the original. That's what I'm saying. No, I agree with you. This is a way better movie. And and I said when we did Toxic Avenger that the newer movie was the better movie. It was better made and everything, but I still liked the Toxic Avenger better than the new one. Mm-hmm. I thought it was overall, it was just a better story to me, even though everything else failed compared to the new one. This one is kind of the opposite. The story, obviously, I'm going to stick with the story. I like stories, so this was a much stronger story. It stuck with the original content better, and everything else was also better. Like, the acting was better. The direction was better. Like, outside of Richard Dawson, I think Richard Dawson, honestly, I would have loved to see Richard Dawson, that version of Richard Dawson, in Josh Brolin's spot. Like, I really liked Richard Dawson in that movie. I thought he did better than the Brolin and Domingo combo, but it did not hurt the movie in any way. It was just a different take on it. This is a much better movie. I like it a lot better.
Yeah, totally. And if that subplot does happen where Arnold is the president, we will send this clip to Paramount Pictures and demand that Cotton be paid for his idea.
No, and I will say that does not mean that I think the original is not a good movie. I still do enjoy the movie. Again, much like Toxic Avenger, you have to know what you're getting into when you go to see it or when you turn it on. It is pure spectacle. It is Arnold Schwarzenegger. If that's what you're looking for, you're going to get everything you want. But you're not going to get like a great movie. It's just going to be fun. You go to the new Running Man, I think you're going to get a pretty great movie.
Yeah, and that's one of the things that, being directed by Edgar Wright kind of makes sense why this movie was good, because he took stars that are kind of known. I mean, the biggest star in this film is the villain, probably Josh Brolin, and then the second biggest star of this whole film would probably be William H. Macy, and he's only in the film for like 5 minutes.
Yeah. Very, very small parts.
So he's taken like unknowns and made it into a good film. And hopefully this kind of launches Glenn Powell to do even bigger and better things.
Yeah. And honestly, Katie O'Brien, I really liked how she played that character. And we didn't really talk about her too much because honestly, she's a secondary part of this movie. But when she was in it, what she was doing, she was this like lesbian party girl. She was awesome. Like those are some of the most fun scenes, is watching her do her running stuff. Like it was great.
Yeah, and just the part where she's at the club partying, that part's hilarious. Even the Tim character was funny up to the point where I think he went to like a Starbucks.
Yeah, he just wasn't in it very long, and
Yeah.
the actor did a perfectly fine job with him. It's just not the greatest character. That's the thing that hurt that one the best. Yeah.
But
so here's something that I wanted to add to the end of this. Is our fifth show.
Mm-hmm.
That's not very many because we've been doing this for a little while now, because it's sometimes hard to get these in. But famously, I thought up this idea because Yumper hates sequels, remakes, reboots, all of these things. And I thought it would be funny to make him watch these movies and talk about them because he doesn't like the idea of this. So I started to do a tally. And, maybe we'll check in every 5 movies or so and just see where we're at. But I wanted to share the score. Remake versus original. Yumper. Remakes are winning 4-1 for you.
I think it's just the movies we're picking.
I don't know. And for me, the originals are winning 3-2. 3-2. It is the movies, but yeah, it's how we're looking at them. I don't know, that original 1956 Invasion of the Body Snatchers. You liked the remake better. Now, I will say for you, that was kind of the original, right? Because that was the first one you saw, and I got to see them, the original and then the remake. So that's a little iffy. You could get a half point on that for your original, but yeah, I mean, these movies are, I don't know, what were the other? Toxic Avenger? I still think Toxic Avenger, ultimately a much more rewatchable movie, just more fun. I don't know. I was surprised when I went back to check where you were at, that you're liking these remakes better than maybe I think you thought you would like.
Yeah. Well, I Toxic Avenger I liked. It's just because it's more 80s. The newer one I liked. The Invasion of Body Snatchers, I mean, people consider it the greatest remake ever made, that film. So I mean, you can't really fault me for liking this one. This one really surprised me because I thought I was gonna hate this movie. I'm not gonna lie. I thought I was gonna hate it because I keep playing that stupid scene. Even since that's stupid, it's funny in the film, but the scene where he makes that face and he's like,
oh yeah,
that part, I'm like, okay, but it intrigued me to want to watch it, and I enjoyed the film, and also it's not that long. It was not a film that dragged,
right?
So I could see, but I am still like we just talked about in the previews, how I hate certain Hollywood ideas. So I don't know if that's ever going to change, man.
Right? No, I just thought it was funny, the dichotomy here. And here's the thing, like, I don't know that these are not saying that you think the originals are bad. That it's not that at all. It's like just what we are preferring, because actually, outside of the original House on Haunted Hill, I haven't disliked any of these movies.
Yeah,
I thought the original House on Haunted Hill was pretty garbage, but
I think you would want this if you're a Hollywood studio to have these feelings, of you want that a remake to be better than the original, or the audience to gravitate, because that means you're making a right choice and making good money.
Right.
Unfortunately, they don't do that.
Yeah. Well, and you are correct. We have been picking some movies that we are interested in already, for different reasons. look, maybe listeners out there, maybe you throw something at us in the comments section on, Blue Sky, Sadistic Penguins at Blue Sky or whatever, and just tell us what remake you would like us to do. And then maybe that's going to be, that's going to switch things up. That doesn't mean we're going to do it, but give us your ideas and maybe we will if it's intriguing. We don't know what we're going to do next, but let us know whether you like the idea that we did a very new movie.
Yeah, if you like the recent films or you like us going with the classics, let us know.
Yeah, because you will get spoilers. I do not abide by the spoiler ethos. I will tell you exactly what happened in these damn movies. So you do understand that. If you don't like that bit, then you're going to want us to do older movies.
Yeah,
but we would like to hear what you have to say.
You didn't read his thing on spoilers.
Yeah. No, and the other thing is we added the news at the beginning of this, and that's why this is running about a half hour, 45 minutes longer, is because of that new little segment. I enjoyed it. It did make the podcast longer, but I also don't care about the length of podcasts.
This is the Cotton Hour. If you guys notice, every time I do the At the Show podcast, if we hit the 2-hour mark, Cotton gets a shout out because it's the Cotton Hour. He loves podcasts that are long, which is totally fine. I mean, this is totally fine with me. I haven't done a podcast in a couple of weeks, so I'm totally fine with doing it. I actually really enjoyed the preview session, so we would like as much feedback as we can get. Again, we are still tweaking our show to make it sound better for you guys. Let us know what you like, dislike. Don't be afraid to hurt our feelings. We don't care. We're grown men. We can take it. We just want to know your perspective and what you like to listen to. So we're trying to make it enjoyable for you and also us while doing it.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, that was The Running Man. I enjoyed it, man. I honestly had a great time watching these movies on back-to-back nights. I really thought it was fun. Not sure which one we're doing next, but I think I don't know. This has been a lot of fun for me just to watch some of these movies.
Yeah, man,
some of them I've never seen, especially these older ones.
That's the whole point of discovering stuff you've never seen. Some stuff I haven't seen either. So we'll be back in a few weeks with our new episode. We'll drop that. Thank you all. It'll
probably be Silent Night, Deadly Night, right?
Oh, Jesus Christ, no. I'm not gonna read that. It definitely won't be that film. Thanks for listening, everybody. Cotton, before we're out of here, tell us about some stuff you want to plug.
Oh, it's the Christmas season. If you're hearing this anytime, but you can really go anytime. Unfortunately, you have to go to Amazon. But if you search my name, Michael Cotton, and Santa's Gift, I have a children's book out there that is about two children that go to the North Pole to find out what Santa wants for Christmas and learn something about Christmas. It's fun. It's for kids. I wrote it for my kids as sort of a night before Christmas thing. And when they were very young, they're old now. But when they were very young, I used to read it to them on Christmas Eve.
He still does.
So,
it's okay.
Yeah. But it's a great little kid's book about Christmas. It's that time of season. If you want to support somebody with $1.29 royalty, go ahead and hit Amazon up. Maybe someday I'll see some of that money.
We'll include the link in the blog post for this that we have on the website, so you can check it out and support Cotton. I'll also put it in the Twitter's announcement for you.
Yump, do you have an affiliate link thing on
Amazon? No, we don't. The only thing we have is our merch store, which we have it in several places. But if you follow the CAPTCHA or go to sadisticpenguin.printify.me, you'll get the best deal there for our merch.
There's a bunch of great shirts and stuff on there right now.
Yeah, we also have a Christmas. We have some Christmas wrapping paper with our Slaying It Santa cup, our Slaying It Santa hoodies. Also, our Fuck Ice shirt is back due to popular demand. Actually, that one's been selling pretty well. A lot more people are buying that one because of, you know what?
I wore it on Thanksgiving.
So we have that. We have some Bears merch as well as Bulls merch coming out. I got some ideas on some Cubs and Sox merch that I'll be doing. Of course, not going to be named Cubs and Sox due to copyright. but they are going to be Cubs and Sox related. So I'll be probably rolling those out within the next couple months. But thanks everybody for listening. We'll be back in a few weeks, and be sure to check out the Bleacher Brunch, as well as the Sun Ranto Show and the At the Show podcast. Take it easy, and we'll see you soon, hopefully.
Cool. Thanks.